You're listening to Media Savvy Moms with Melody and Marilyn, a podcast by Parents Aware, your go-to for information on how to talk to kids and teens about pornography and healthy sexuality.
Welcome back to the Media Savvy Moms podcast. Today we're going to do a Q&A episode, which means we're taking some of your biggest questions and giving you very quick answers to them. And we'll direct you to some of our other podcasts if you want a more in-depth discussion. And if you have any questions to submit, send them to admin@parentsaware.info, and we'd love to share them on the air. Or you can contact us through any of our social media channels. So today's question comes from one of our listeners, and she asks, how do I start the conversation about masturbation with my kids? You want to start with that, Melody?
Yes, I will. So this is a question from a mom who has a lot of different ages at her house. She has 6 kids, and they are from very little to teenagers. And so we're going to answer her question for her in a broad manner for lots of different ages, which is tricky, but we'll get to it. So if you're asking me, how do I answer this? How do I start to talk about masturbation? I tend to be a little bit loud and obnoxious. I know that some parents aren't so comfortable talking about tricky topics like sex and pornography and masturbation. And so maybe I'm not the best parent to talk to if you're uncomfortable. But in our house, we talk about these things at dinner, in the car. Not maybe masturbation. I was thinking there's a spectrum, right? At dinner, we talk about pornography. Maybe in the car, we talk more about intimate things. And my kids know they can always come to me one-on-one to talk about the most, personal things. Like maybe the masturbation talk would be a more one-on-one mom
Sure,
talk.
that makes sense. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I think personally that the most non-threatening way to approach the topic is the biology route.
Mm-hmm.
At least with my kids, when we talk about the body like a machine and how the parts work, and actually, my kids tend to be less grossed out, I guess, when we use the science terms,
Yeah.
rather than saying, wet dreams, we say, nocturnal emissions, or, just more of those formal words. It makes it feel more comfortable.
Yeah,
So that's just at my
I think it's
house.
really good to start that way. I'm more comfortable with that. And then you can say it might be called wet dreams, right?
Mhm.
So that
Right.
because they've probably heard both, or they haven't heard the scientific terms and you're relating it to what they might have heard. And I love that we kind of come at this from a different approach, but I think we're agreed that we always start with asking your kids the question first. Like, instead of assuming that we know what they need to hear, ask them, well, what do you know about masturbation? So that's kind of my first rule, is ask your child what they know already. And
Mhm.
then let them know it's natural to be kind of curious about their body. They might have really strong or good feelings about their genital areas, and that might be concerning to them. So it's okay to let them know that it's normal to feel that way. And I always like to say that this is your body and you get to protect it well. And that helps me lead into a discussion about maybe what's more dangerous about this topic. And that would be
Mhm.
bringing up pornography and
Right.
how it wants to hijack what's normal and natural about our healthy sexual development and twist it and turn it. And it's really can become like, this isn't all going to happen in one discussion. I just want you to know, but it's a leading into that conversation about pornography.
Right. Absolutely. And when we're talking about masturbation, we need to remember as parents that there's the masturbation talk and there's the masturbating to pornography talk. And that's when it becomes we refer to it as dangerous pairings, that hijacking the brain, that becomes a really different thing. Pornography, addiction, and those kinds of things are, and we're way abbreviating here, guys. We did a full blown show about masturbation.
And it was one of our
So
most challenging shows to prepare for because we really recognize that people are coming at this from very different perspectives. And we want you to respect your values and add your values to the conversation. So we really haven't addressed values in this short answer today. Just we want you to know that you can get started and that we think your kids are going to respond quite well to bringing up the topic.
and also just breathe. Do your best. You don't have to be perfect. And what do we say? Relax. When we did our sex talks run amok, laugh, relax, and carry on,
Oh,
right?
very good. I forgot about that. Sometimes I
Yes.
have to
So we
remind myself.
right. So we do have a resource for you.
That would be our past episode, which we spent a lot of time preparing for, and we think it's great. But we realized that when we did this episode 210, addressing masturbation without shame, that we might not have hit on all the points. So we're really glad that we get to have this conversation over with you, and it's the same with your kids. You're not going to hit everything all at once.
Absolutely.
Dina Alexander, who we've also had on the show, says masturbation should not play a major role in your child's life, either as a source of relentless guilt or as a frequent and persistent habit that displaces healthy sexual relations in the future.
Thank you, Dina. Such great input. And we have a challenge for you to go along with this show. Take some time for sincere reflection about your personal views and values on masturbation. And if possible, talk to your spouse about it as well.
We hope you enjoyed this episode of the Media Savvy Moms podcast. For detailed show notes and links to any of the resources mentioned today, visit parentsaware.info. To connect with us on social media, find us on Instagram at Media Savvy Moms and on Facebook and Twitter at Parents Aware. We would love to get your feedback. Don't forget to subscribe and leave a review wherever you listen to this podcast. Until next week, let's keep talking.